Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the closing bell here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group's Securities Offered by Money Block. This is June 13th, and it was a relatively uneventful day. You saw a modest rebound. Basically, all the major indices were up about 0.4%. The NASDAQ was leading the way up 0.7%, a little bit over that. Crude on the commodity space, as you can see over here to the right, both West Texas up about 1% at 46.49, and the Brent contract up 29 cents. You did see some weakness in copper. That I want to say is notable, especially since now it's challenging its 20 and 50-day moving average. That is not going to be a positive going forward for infrastructure plays as well as growth on that side of the economy. Taking a look at gold. Gold did bounce a little bit today, up 80 cents. It was right on its 20-day moving average. As you can see, it's resting on that green line. We also saw a modest pop in bonds, and that's in front of the Fed meeting, culminating with their statement tomorrow at 2:15 Eastern Time. What's going to be watched and listened for is what, if any, type of unwind of this $4.3 trillion balance sheet they're going to give as far as clues. We know that there's a 99.9% probability that they are going to be raising the rates by 0.25%. That has been priced out through the Fed Funds tool. You can go to the CME.com Fed Funds tool. You can find it right there. What I want to do basically for the rest of this time is talk about what kind of movement we're expecting going into the next 3 days and 10 days in the key sector ETFs. We're going to start with the diamonds. The diamonds track the Dow Jones 30. Above its 20 and 50-day moving average, the bulls are in control today, despite the fact that IBM was pulling back. But we had all of the major financial components as well as tech components rebounding today. When you got 75-80% of an index to the upside, that index is going to be to the upside. The diamonds right now are pricing in a $1.20 range for the next 3 days. That means that you could see it basically up at $214.50, or you could see it as low as, let's say, right around $211.80. So very interesting action, or right around $212. So very interesting action being priced there, but less than a 0.5% move being priced into the Dow right now for the rest of the week. And for the next 10 days, roughly about a 1% move being, a little bit over 1% move being priced in. And today we had 0.4% move in the diamonds. Now taking a look at the spiders, which tracks the S&P 500, we basically over the next 3 days have a $1.72 range being priced in the $244 ETF. That's basically about a 0.5%. We saw it move a $1.19 today. That's basically what they're pricing in for the remainder of this week. So with a $1.19 move, we might have a little bit here and there. We're going to watch that Fed move over the next 10 days, basically a little less than 1%, about 0.9% move being priced in through Friday of next week. Now, in full disclosure, in both the S&Ps and also the Qs, my clients do have positions in those underlyings. Taking a look at the NASDAQ and the QQQs, which tracks the NASDAQ, they're in a battleground right now. Yes, the tech stocks did rebound after what has been a precipitous drop, but they're still below their 20-day moving average. They settled right at, so that's acting as a ceiling, that 20-day moving average. So that's resistance on the short term. That means short-term bulls are on their heels, but they're not out of the equation. We're going to watch this very closely. The Qs right now are pricing in for the remainder of this week about a $1.60 move, either up or down. So you could see it at almost 42 and a half, $43. You could also see it as low as around 138.40, 138.50. That's the range for the next 3 days, and you're seeing about another 1% move being priced in through next week, and it already moved about 0.8% today. Russell 2000, full disclosure, have a position in there as well. We're trading at 142. Right now, the Russell and the IWM, which is the ETF that tracks the Russell 2000, has a range of about 133 for the remainder of this week. Already moving 72 cents, but that's good for 0.5%. Basically got about another 0.5% range to 1% range for the next 3 days. And you could see about a 1.5 to almost 2% range being priced in going into the end of next week. And then bonds. This is going to be the story. We're going to watch bonds very closely. Bonds have pulled back from basically tracking down its 200-day moving average, but the bulls are still in control. It did actually finish today. The TLT is a hybrid between the 10-year and the 30-year bonds. It finished the day up 2 cents, so it mirrored that rebound that we saw after the opening lows. And TLT finished up 2 cents at 124.38. They're pricing in the potential for an 83-cent range for the remainder of this week, which is a little less than 1%. And they're basically pricing in about a 1.1% range, either up or down in TLT through the end of next week. Now, these aren't huge ranges, folks, so that means that the volatility is low. There's not a heightened sense of big violent moves. We've seen that, and basically with these algos and big ETFs basically managing and shoring up most of what would be potentially volatile moves, we're going to have to watch this very closely, because if any one of these big ETFs that starts to get sold off by an institution, or large components like what we saw with the FANGs in the NASDAQ start to get sold off because of whatever headline, if the Fed does something that's unexpected, or if they give a part of their statement that's not going to be positive, for example, for financials, you could see the S&Ps, the Dow Jones, and the Russell 2000 in trouble. Or it could be vice versa, a catalyst to the upside. If we have a clear picture, we're starting to get a clear understanding of what the Fed's going to do going forward, that could be a huge catalyst, because then we're going to focus on economic data, earnings, as well as policies that should be moving the markets. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But now you have a little more transparency on what's going on in the markets. You have some ranges going in for the remainder of this week and the end of next week. And of course, with any headline, this all can change. But that's why you're watching MarketStream.live. We'll see you tomorrow morning. We're going to be starting bright and early. We're going to take a look at Asia, Europe, and the U.S. market opens. And then we'll go over some strategies, tech talk, and then we'll do the closing bell. So we'll see you here at MarketStream.live. Have a wonderful evening.